Before proceeding with the application of the facade, the wall surfaces must be properly prepared. The plastering of wall and ceiling surfaces, concrete floorings, installation and assembly of all the installations planned for the facade, and elements for mounting lights, roof covers, etc. on the interior of the building must be completed. It is necessary to remove the assembly foam from around the windows, and by using a masonry bolster, all protruding parts of the surfaces of the building finished with concrete and any excess mortar between bricks must also be removed. Also, carefully trim the thermal insulation elements of the parts of the building below ground level without damaging the waterproofing of the building. The colour study prepared by our consultant architect is one of the key starting points for the application of the facade. It is particularly important that the plinth line for the facade is drawn at a sufficient height to avoid rainwater bouncing off the ground and soiling the decorative plaster. We recommend that the plinth is installed at a minimum height of 40 centimetres. Once we have an initial plinth level, a levelling technique can be employed to transfer it to the corners of the building. The plinth level can be set using a laser levelling system and the plinth line drawn using chalk. If the waterproofing extends above ground level into the plinth area, the waterproofing must be properly prepared. Slightly warm the bituminous surface and dust it lightly with dry sand or quartz sand in order to add mineral particles to the bitumen base to which the cement adhesive can fix. Insulation parts of the building that are below ground level, extruded polystyrene insulating boards are employed. These are also recommended for the insulation of the plinth. Thermal insulation should extend at least 40 centimetres below the foundation plate, that is below ground level, in order to prevent the formation of a thermal bridge. The facade plinth is usually covered with thermal insulation later on, after the lower row of insulation boards has been laid onto a special aluminium baseboard, which is mounted horizontally on the base. For the corners, we recommend using a specially prepared part of the baseboard, which is then connected with the rest with the use of a special PVC insert. The baseboard should be fixed at 3 points for every metre of its length. PVC spacers of different thicknesses are used for the purpose of keeping the baseboard away from the wall at a distance that corresponds to the thickness of the adhesive that is to be applied to the insulating boards. If the wall is not completely vertical, it's necessary to ensure that the facade plane is completely vertical by leaving an appropriate amount of space between the wall and the baseboard. The maximum thickness of the adhesive after the boards have been fixed to the wall is 20 mm, while the minimum thickness of the adhesive after the fixing phase should be 5 mm. The baseboard, because of its shape, allows the runoff of rainwater from the facade surface, preventing water damage from occurring to the plinth area of the facade. The baseboard also protects the bottom edge of the facade from mechanical damage and ensures the execution of a straight line at the transition between the facade and the plinth. When using insulating boards thicker than 12 centimetres, the metal baseboard can be replaced by applying extruded polystyrene plates to the plinth beforehand, which are usually thinner by 3 to 4 centimetres compared with the insulation of the facade. On the marked horizontal line, mount a wooden board to a wall tie to which the plinth insulation can then be attached. If a metal baseboard is not used, it is recommended that a PVC rain protection profile be used at the transition between the building's facade and the plinth.